And we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to A Bookish Moment. I'm Sarah Burr.
And I'm J.C. Kenney, and it's like sunny and gorgeous outside today here in central Indiana, which is a perfect metaphor for our guest, who is a lovely, flowery gal, and we are so happy to have her here. Sarah, I think it's time to get bookish and hang out.
Yes, I agree. And I am a little bit jealous of your description of the weather because now that we are with our time difference, it is very dark here already. It
Wow.
gets, yeah, it's like once 5 o'clock hits, I'm going to be in shadow, just an FYI. But you're right. We are joined by a wonderfully sunny guest that some of you may be very familiar with because she joined us not long ago during our special bookish hour that we had featuring the fabulous ladies from Murder They Write, the Facebook group on Facebook. And we're super excited to have some one-on-one time with the wonderful Jackie Layton. Jackie,
Whoop,
welcome
whoop.
to A Bookish Moment.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We are super excited to have you, and we want to give a shout out
Hmm.
to our folks that are joining us in the chat. We've got Christina, one of your fellow Murder They Writees. Do you have a fun name that you call like yourselves as like groupies? I don't want to like rock the boat or anything, but she's here with us saying hi, guys. So, Christina, thank you very much for joining us. As more folks trickle in and get settled, I'm wondering, Jackie, if you can kind of by way of introduction, tell us a little bit about your maybe background before you started writing and what drew you to the world of cozy mysteries.
So, I've always loved reading. I always wanted to write, but that just didn't seem like, I just thought that was such a lofty, not practical goal. So, but I always was a reader. And one day when my youngest son was in high school, I thought if I don't try it, I'm never going to do it. And so I met some people who encouraged me and pushed me like, oh, join a group, go to conferences. And I started out trying to write romantic suspense, but
Oh.
discovered cozy mysteries was more, I didn't like to write the chase scenes. I kind of
Mm.
liked the community and just the characters and how they relate to each other and just the process of solving the mystery. I like that better than all the trying to write the chase scenes and everything.
Here, here. I tell you what, Jackie, I am so with you. I think the world of thriller authors and folks who write, romantic suspense, thrillers, all that stuff, it's way too stressful for me, though. So I like my whodunits. But on a little more serious note, I want to tip my hat to you because you're now on your third series. You wrote about a dog walker. Then you wrote about a professional organizer who I need one of those in my life. And now you are writing about a flower farmer.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So, because my profession has been as a pharmacist, and once you get in there, you're stuck in the store. You cannot legally leave the store. So, I was trying to find a fun, creative profession where you have flexibility to move around town and interview characters. So I came up with, and I love flowers, I came up with the flower farmers. So I researched, and flower farmers can be as big as your backyard garden if you plan it right, or it can be, acres and acres of flowers. So because she's a flower farmer, she goes to the farmer's market and she goes around town, like to the bed and breakfast, and she'll deliver some flowers
Uh-huh.
there. Or she doesn't take the role of florist, but she does direct deliveries to some of the local businesses.
And folks, we were talking before we went live about how both JC and I were like, oh, like never had really considered the profession of flower farmer, because I was thinking, oh, the florist is the one that does like gets these flowers, but they have to get
Yeah.
them from somewhere. So I just always find it fascinating how we learn about these, different avenues that people can experience, and how certain things kind of come together in our world. So I just think that is so, so wonderful. We do have some more folks popping into the chat. We've got Farmhouse Reader saying happy Thursday to you all. DHB saying good afternoon. And I don't know why, Jackie, but I can completely space that about your career as a pharmacist. And I'm just thinking you must have such between flowers and like the fact that quite a few of them can be deadly. I mean, they're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, but there's so many out there that like, holy moly, had no idea that they could kill you. And between like the work that you've done in as a pharmacist, like knowing different drug interactions, all of that, like very like scientific stuff, you must be spoiled for choice when it comes to coming up with murder weapons in your mysteries. Is that a fun part of the process for you? Is it a part that easily comes together, or is it something that you sometimes struggle with because so many things out there can harm us?
Well, I do think it's fun to try to find a creative way.
Mm-hmm.
I love to research poisons or to think how I could do that with a poison, but I know I can't have a poison in every single book. So then I research other stuff too. But yeah, with my chemistry background, and then studying the flowers. So we'll come back to this, but I was at my son's house in Texas, and they had bought a new house, and I was like cutting back some of the flowers, and suddenly it was like this big bush of flowers that had gotten out of control, and suddenly I was itching all over, and I thought, what is that? So then I took a shower, and then I researched it, and the dust from the flowers can make you break out in a rash. So I have experienced, I guess, I don't know that you would go as extreme as say poisoning, but I definitely got it washed off and then looked it up.
That is
So
that's so cool. So life imitating art, and then art imitating life, and all that kind of stuff.
yes.
So yeah. So speaking of flowers, not necessarily poisoning. By the way, folks, this is all theoretical. Jackie is one of the nicest folks I've ever met. If you are in danger of being poisoned by her, you probably deserve it. So
And
that's all I'm going to say
JC,
about that.
really quickly, we have DHB chiming in saying, oh man, your Google searches are going to freak Dateline out.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. So, Jackie, Emma Justice, that is your new sleuth. We've kind of hinted around that that we've told everybody what she does. Tell us about her. Introduce us to Emma.
So Emma, she got married young in life, had a child, her husband died, and so she had a career. And then when her daughter graduated from high school early and went off to college, so she had the money to go to college, the scholarships and everything. So Emma always wanted to be a flower farmer, and so she started kind of slowly over the years, knew this was going to happen, but started planting her yard. So at the beginning of the series, she has started this new career as a flower farmer. And she's lived in the same town, Letts, Texas, for years, and over 20 years. And she's in her late 30s, and she just knows people in town. So not only does this new career give her freedom, she knows everybody, and they're happy to talk to her. So uh, life imitating art. I made her a pharmacy technician. So people come and talk to the pharmacist and the technician, and you kind of grow a bond when you're talking about health issues and everything. So she's really connected to the people in the small town.
I love that that she kind of serves two purposes for the folks of her town. She can be kind of like this confidant of, giving medical advice or helping people through their problems, but then she's also there to brighten their day with some beauty. And you mentioned that her hometown is Letts, Texas. With your dog walker series being out on the East Coast, I was super curious. Like, what was it about Texas that made you want to set the story there?
So, I mentioned a few minutes ago that my youngest son, he moved there. He and his wife moved there. And on my trips to go visit them, I just met so many nice people. And it's it's stinking hot, but there's also nice months too. And it was really the people though that just kind of pulled me in. They just have welcomed Scott and Kelly, who don't have any family in Texas, and everybody's I met has been nice to me, whether I was with Scott and Kelly or just like walking through a neighborhood by myself. I just met so many nice people. So I thought, I'm going to set a book down here.
Nice.
Nice. So speaking of setting a book down there, title Bleeding Heart Murder, works on a couple levels. One of which I didn't know this until today. Bleeding heart is a flower.
Yes.
So, because hey, I am your stereotypical guy. I know what a daisy is because that was my mom's favorite flower. I know what a rose is because at least guys knows I'm a guy who at least knows what a rose is. Beyond that, I'm pretty clueless. Tell us a little bit about the bleeding heart flower and then how that works into bleeding heart murder.
So, when I started this series, because I've never gardened in Texas, I bought some gardening books and studied like what grows when, and then for what plants are poisonous, and so we all know like the expression somebody's a bleeding heart, whatever, and just so sensitive and whatever. And then you've got this poisonous flower that's a bleeding heart. So I focused it on the local librarian who has been a character in all three books. So this time she's got a bigger role, and just how she cares for people, whether they're the young children coming in for story time or older adults. And she had a friend murdered years ago. So this is a thing she never gave up, trying to figure out what happened to this friend. So she's got a lot of causes that she's involved in, and not everybody likes her because if you come across, if you go crossways with her when she's defending like story time or whatever, she just really holds her own and not always super nice, but her heart's in the right place. So I had a bleeding heart in the library, and I'll just stop there so you can read and see what happens with that bleeding heart plant and the librarian.
I love I love a librarian in a cozy mystery. And Tess, your librarian, made me kind of harken back, J.C., to Allie Cobb when she is on the case helping out her hometown librarian. And
Yeah.
I just think that it's such a wonderful character to focus on, especially like for a mystery, but not only as somebody who our sleuths are connected to, but I just feel like everybody has experienced the help of a librarian at some point in their life, whether it was at their town librarian, maybe it was their school librarian. And so we all have that connection point, that relatability of, these people are here to help. And I just always find it to be such like a nice layer that we get to explore within the community. So with that in mind, Jackie, when you were, dreaming up this series, you were thinking about like your plot points from book to book. Did you always feel that I have to like bring it back to Tess? I have to bring it back to this bleeding heart librarian that I have at some point because of kind of the role that she has played in the other two books?
Yes, Mostly, I mean, she has been helpful. She's good at helping do research or pointing you out where you need to look up something. But because it was her friend who was murdered years and years before, the series started,
Hmm.
and she just never gave up on wanting to prove who murdered her friend. Um, I just knew at some point we were going to come back to her and the friend who disappeared and was murdered. So I knew one day Tess was going to have her bigger story.
Her moment.
Yes.
So
Nice.
that makes me want to ask a question here, Jackie, and that to kind of dovetail off of what Sarah was saying about librarians typically being like good guys. They're kind of our everyday heroes, and I truly believe they are in real life too. But we are often told as cozy mystery authors that when you're going to kill somebody, you don't want to kill off somebody who's too popular because you might make people angry. Because it's like, oh, I can't believe you did that. To me, I've been there. Killing off a librarian that's a little bit of a gutsy move. Can you talk about your process of, you said you wanted Tess to have this moment, it was building, but did at one point, pardon me for saying this, at what point did you decide she needed to die?
Well, so my first rule is you never kill a dog. Not that dogs
Yes.
are more important than librarians, but you can never kill a dog. That
Mm.
I knew. Um, and I thought, like I said, she has her causes, and not everybody likes her causes. So she's, kind of the prickly person. You may love her dearly, but don't cross her. And so even though I knew her story was coming, I did, as I started thinking about it, I thought, if she is murdered, then will that shed light on her friend's, murder and what would happen then? And that's kind of, I don't know about y'all, but do y'all just ask yourself, what if, what if, what if? And then you kind
Mhm.
of like,
That's how I
no.
started writing. It's like, what if I did this? What if I did something like
So,
this?
okay. Well, so on this, I was asked, well, what if I do this, or what if I do this, or what if I do this? And then that's how I ended up with her getting
I
attacked and done.
I am, this might be controversial, but I am a fan of when somebody that I have a strong connection with as a character, when they meet their maker, because it has me as the reader that much more invested in justice, and it is to me extremely believable that the sleuth that we have come to know and love is also going to be feeling that sense of urgency of like, I need to get justice for this individual. And I know as a series, especially for an amateur sleuth continues, those lines are kind of like the threads of why are they getting involved in this mystery.
Mhm.
They can either become harder to figure out because, at one point, when is it going to be one too many murders for them to get involved with? But if you keep having these characters that they have these deep bonds and connections with, then I think it really furthers the believability of the plot. So I think it can be a risky move, but I think it usually pays off in the end.
Well, I've been in conversations where people say, I don't want to care about the murder victim, just the other people. And then
Hmm.
other people are like, I want a connection to the murder victim, or I don't care who killed him.
Yeah.
So
I know.
Which is one of the things I've always found interesting about Sarah with so many of your books, because you've killed off some people that it's like, okay, that person, deserved to die. Uh,
Yes. I will, because so this is the flip side. As a writer, I love killing off people that I could care less about because I don't like, for me, I feel bad. Like, why did this kind person have to die? And that really like hit home for me when I was doing Coco Klein book 3, where this like really popular influencer who was actually like, she was a good person. She wasn't like a vapid influencer that is making all these terrible decisions. She was trying to bring, give people ways to like feel better about themselves, increase their self-confidence. And the entire time I'm just like, man, like this person would have been so awesome to like have around in future books and to have her pop in. And I'm so bummed that she's not here anymore. And so I was like, I got to go back to killing people that I don't like.
So, yeah, no doubt. I feel for you there, Sarah. One of the things, Jackie, I'm also kind of curious about, with regard to, Emma, is, she is a flower farmer. Would you say, and she also has her background as a pharmacy tech. So, as somebody you've written 3 series, you've written all these different things, what advice would you give to somebody starting out in the writing biz, in terms of finding unique traits for your amateur sleuth? Because you, like I said, dog walker, organizer, now we got, flower farmer. So what advice do you have for somebody saying, I don't know what to choose for a career, for my sleuth? What do you say to that?
So, crafting cozy mysteries are a big deal. A lot of people love crafting. I don't knit. I don't sew. I can't do crafting. My heart's not going to be into it. So I love dogs, kind of how I got to the dog walker. I think pick something you love, have their hobby or their career be something you're going to enjoy, because hopefully as you write these 3 books, you're going to enjoy what they're doing. If they're pulling weeds, one thing Emma does, if she's frustrated, she pulls weeds. That kind of helps her with her frustration, and kind of she can think through things as she's yanking up the weeds. Pick something, the hook, something you like, a lifeguard, whatever you like. That's because you're going to be spending time with this character who is doing this hobby or career or whatever. So pick something you like. That would be my main advice.
That is, I cannot agree more. And take it from my real life experience, where I'm not gonna out one of my characters, but I have a candle maker, I have a social media influencer, and I have a book blogger. And there is definitely one of the interests that my sleuths have that I'm like, eek, this is hard for me to do because my interest has waned. And being able to figure out like, okay, like how do I course correct? How do I get that joy back in for me as the writer? It was very tricky. So I definitely agree that pick something that you love, and you'd be surprised at, that passion, how much it shines through. I am very curious, and a little bit of a rapid fire moment, but what are your favorite flowers, Jackie? Do you have favorite flowers?
I like, of course, I like the daisies, the sunflowers, the black-eyed Susans. Those are some of my favorite. We always have those. Right now, it's a little cooler, so we're growing pansies and mums we've got. And actually, we had a warm spell, so my azaleas are blooming. I always want a house, wherever I live, I've got to have azalea bushes. They make me happy. So, Cosmos, COSMOS, if you don't like flowers, I love them because I can cut them and add them to almost any flower arrangement. They're pretty out in the yard, but they're also pretty in little flower arrangements around the house. And I don't do great big flower arrangements. I get like a little vase and put a few things in and just spread them around, because I'm not a florist. I don't have that, that back to I'm not crafty. I don't do great big bouquets. I do little ones.
That sounds like such a warm collection that you have. And JC, I know that you mentioned that you're not a flower guy, but do you have like what's a go-to flower that you bring for Nancy, or that you know that Nancy loves?
Well, I mean, every year she's a big fan of mums.
Hmm.
And actually, this is the first time she's been able. This year was the first time she planted mums last fall. She pruned them in June, and they came back. So that's the first time
Oh
that
wow,
happened.
nice.
Yeah, so that's
Yay.
cool. Um, uh, she plants snapdragons, and I think those are a lot of fun. Kind of creepy looking a little bit in a fun sort of way, and they're so colorful. So those are a couple that that come to mind. And Jackie, I want to ask you about that. Time is short, but do you have advice, perennial versus annual? Because to me, I'm like, annuals just seem so hard work, but I know a lot of people love their annuals.
I like the perennials. I like that they come back, and then if they don't, then I fill them in with, more things. So yeah, I like them more bang for your buck. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you plant them one time and it's like, okay, they're coming back. That's the way we are with
Yes.
our snapdragons. Well, I shouldn't say we, Nancy snapdragons. What about you, Sarah? Do you have a fave?
I am a big fan of lilacs and lupins. I love purple. So and growing up in Maine, there would just be so many beautiful lupin fields that just sprout up out of nowhere, and they were always so gorgeous. But I also love hydrangeas. So I think just like I like the clusters of flowers. I
Mhm.
guess that's my those are my faves. And I was sitting here like perennial and annual, like what does that? I'm like trying to figure out like what does that mean? Because to me, like annual is like why wouldn't that be like, oh, it comes back every year because
You would
annual means
think,
year.
yes.
But like
Yeah.
perennial, permanent, not like, oh gosh, so many word plays to do. But Jackie, as our time is running short, for folks that want to stay connected with you, how do they keep in touch? Where can they find you? Social media platforms, groups, all of that good stuff.
Okay, so I'm on Facebook as myself, as an author, and as the group Murder They Write. I'm one of the founders of that group. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I've started on Substack. I'm still trying to figure all that out. Threads. I'm on a lot of it, just
You're
trying to
everywhere.
figure out some of the newer ones, but definitely you can find me on Facebook, Instagram. I have a newsletter. I have a website with a blog, and so yeah, you can find me lots of places.
Excellent. You are everywhere
Nice.
that your readers need or want to be. And as we begin talking about what are we reading, listening to, watching, being entertained by these days, I do want to point out we've got farmhouse readers saying, I love red geraniums. Folks in the chat, if you want to share your favorite flowers with us, we would love to hear it. There's so many gorgeous ones out there. I also like irises. I do love an
Yes.
iris because again, purple. And one of the reasons why ended up going to the college that I went to because their flower was the iris.
There you
Well,
go.
Yes.
Hey.
I got a quick Iris story.
Ooh.
So my grandmother Hubbard and my grandmother Lutz and her
Mm.
sister, my Aunt Judy, all had purple iris. So
Oh.
before they sold their homes and downsized, they dug them up and gave me bulbs.
Oh,
And I'm not going
nice.
to tell you how many years ago that is, but all these years through so many houses, I've got them with me here in South Carolina, and they bloom every
Aw.
spring. And I think of my grandmother's and my Aunt Judy. So I also attach memories to flowers.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so lovely. Aw, that's great.
Yeah.
Um,
That's kind of like the way we have a little stand of daisies that come up every year that were originally came from my mom's house, and they were my mom's favorites. So it's like Nancy's always like, here are the daisies, here's your mom back. So yeah.
oh,
Yes, I love
that's
that.
beautiful. Um, ja- Jackie, what's keeping you entertained these days? Any recommendations for our audience members? Doesn't have to be a cozy mystery, can be anything, could be a TV show, movie, what have you.
Okay, I just watched the first season of Three Pines. Very intriguing, and they
Oh,
ended on a
so good.
cliffhanger, so I got to
Yeah.
get into season two. Um, But this is The Betrayal of Anne Frank, a cold case investigation. And I
Oh,
just got it. I, I just thought I don't know, it just grabbed me. So I'm getting ready to read this. Not a cozy mystery, but I just sometimes, read different things, and that's what I'm getting ready to read now.
fabulous. Awesome.
Very cool. Interesting. Sarah?
JC, oh, for me, I'm thinking. So the last time we chatted, I was talking about the It Welcome to Derry show
Mm-hmm.
on HBO. We watched season or episode 2, and I'm like, I don't know if I can keep watching this because it's too weird. It's too much for me. So I might be retracting my recommendation on that. Even though the acting is very good, I'm very impressed by the acting, especially the kids. The kids are really great. In other in my podcast world, there is a new series that Dateline is doing. What was it? It's called like Deadly Engagement, or yes, something. Yeah, Deadly Engagement.
About the
It's
Kennedy?
No, this one was. It
Okay.
was just like about this poor woman who ended up getting engaged to the wrong man and ended up dead.
Mm.
But I am listening to. It's called Conspiracy Theories, Cults, and Crimes, and it really just goes back and like does these kind of deep dive investigations to things that I only knew about on a surface level. One of them was like the CIA using LSD on United States civilians to see like, oh, like can we create super soldiers or something insane like that. And the fact that like these people were given LSD for like many years of their lives and just monitored by the government to see what was going on. And I was just like, are you kidding me that this happened? And
Well,
this isn't what we're talking about all the time. It's very interesting to see like all the stuff that has gone on that has since been maybe kind of covered up or not talked about anymore. So that is a very intriguing. It's not like it's not like murder investigations, but it's some type of mystery that is keeping me like thinking at night. So that's my recommendation if you want to go down the rabbit hole. JC, what do you any new recommendations for us?
Yeah, so kind of like Jackie, every now and then I got to take a break from the murder and mayhem of the mystery world. So I just finished a book by sci-fi adventure author Chuck Wendig called Zeros.
Oh.
And it's about a group of computer hackers who kind of get pulled together and find themselves unwittingly helping build a super AI computer that wants to take over the world, literally. And so it's they once they realize what's going on, it's like, are we
Ooh.
okay with this or not? So ends up a real kind of underdog David versus Goliath story, and so it was a lot of fun. And I also want to say real quick, friend of the show, friend of all of us, Chris Romeril, says she loves lilacs and hydrangeas. So there we
Oh,
go, some more
twinsies.
flowers.
I am going to have to get that Zeros for George. That sounds like something
Yeah.
right up his alley. So good,
Mhm.
great recommendations all around, you guys. Jackie, thank you so much for being here. It was so lovely to talk with you. I'm glad that
sure.
we got some one-on-one time with you, or I guess two-on-one time with you. And very much, folks, if you're looking for a cozy mystery that brings both the mystery, but just like a beautiful, peaceful community. Definitely recommend picking up the Texas Flower Farmer Mystery Series. 3 books already, so you've got plenty of reading to catch up on. We very much appreciate our wonderful audience joining us here today. Thank you guys for your comments, DHB, Chris, Farmhouse Reader, Fashionable Bookworm. We really appreciate you being here with us. And to folks watching after the fact, your questions and comments are always welcome, and feel free to leave us a comment if you so choose. We will be back next week with more episodes, so stay tuned. You can sign up for alerts at our Substack because we are all just loving Substack here. And until then, folks, stay bookish. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.